The steam curled like a lover's breath around us, thick and unforgiving, as Levi's hand brushed my thigh under the pretense of adjusting his towel. "Caleb," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder in the humid silence. "I can't pretend anymore. This is killing me." My heart slammed against my ribs, the wooden bench searing my skin, because in that instant, I knew one touch, and our worlds would shatter. I jerked back, towel slipping just enough to expose the raw tattoo on my hip, a faded eagle from my Marine days, symbolizing freedom I'd never truly claimed. Levi's eyes, those piercing blue storms, locked on mine, pleading, accusing, devouring. The gym's distant hum of weights clanging faded to nothing. It was just us, two ghosts in the mist, and the betrayal I'd buried for years clawing its way to the surface. The sauna door hissed shut behind me that sweltering July evening in Brooklyn, sealing out the metallic tang of the Equinox gym and trapping me in this velvet haze of eucalyptus and regret. I'd come here to sweat out the day's failures, a botched client pitch at the ad agency, another voicemail from my sister begging me to visit Mom's grave. But Levi? He was the wild card, the guy who'd been orbiting my periphery for months, all easy grins and lingering glances during our hit classes. Tonight, though, the universe conspired to strip us bare. I spotted him first, sprawled on the upper bench like he owned the place, towel draped low on his hips, revealing the V of muscle that dipped toward promises unspoken. Levi Ramirez, 28, personal trainer extraordinaire, with skin like caramel under the low-watt bulbs and a fade haircut that begged fingers to rumple it. We'd bantered before, him teasing my corporate zombie form, me firing back about his gym bro facade, but this felt different. Charged. The air hummed with it. "Caleb," he said, voice low and gravelly, patting the bench beside him. "Join the sweat lodge. It's meditative." His smile was all teeth, but his eyes, they held the weight of unspoken confessions. I hesitated, pulse thrumming in my ears. 32. I was no stranger to the pull of forbidden glances in locker rooms, the quickened breath when a stranger's gaze lingered too long. But Levi wasn't a stranger. He'd seen me puke after my first burpee set, shared protein shakes post-workout, even patched a cut on my knuckle from a rogue dumbbell. He knew my scars, literal and otherwise, the ones from Afghanistan that mapped my left thigh like a roadmap to hell, the emotional ones from coming out to a family that scattered like leaves in a gale. "Fine," I muttered, dropping my towel and climbing up, the heat hitting me like a lover's slap. We sat in silence at first, the kind that builds like storm clouds, our knees inches apart. Sweat beaded on his chest, tracing rivulets down to the edge of his towel, and I forced my eyes to the foggy window overlooking the East River's glittering skyline. Manhattan's lights winked like distant stars, mocking my isolation. "So," Levi broke the quiet, shifting so his calf brushed mine. "Accidental? Intentional? That pitch today. You nailed it, right? Saw you strutting out of the conference room like a peacock." I chuckled. Bitter. More like a drowned rat. Client wants edgy millennial vibes, but their budget's stuck in the 90s. I'm this close to jumping ship to that craft brewery down in Bushwick. He turned, elbow on his knee, face close enough I could smell his cedar cologne cutting through the steam. "You? Quit? Nah. You're the guy who survived Fallujah and came back to hustle in the Big Apple. That's grit, man." His voice dipped. Intimate. "Makes you magnetic." The word hung there. Electric. Magnetic. I'd felt it too. The way his laughs lingered on my jokes. How he'd accidentally book the treadmill next to mine. But admitting it, that was a bridge too far. I'd built walls higher than the Brooklyn Bridge after Dad disowned me post-deployment. After Mom's cancer ate her alive while I was dodging IEDs halfway across the world. Love was a luxury for men who hadn't stared down loss. Yet here was Levi, unraveling me thread by thread. "Levi," I started, voice rough. "Don't." His hand moved then, swift as a shadow, fingers grazing my thigh just above the knee. Not a grab, but a claim. Skin on skin, searing through the heat. My breath hitched, body betraying me with a rush of heat that had nothing to do with the sauna. "Caleb," he murmured, eyes dark as midnight oil. "I can't pretend anymore. This is killing me." I jerked back, towel slipping to expose the eagle tattoo, its wings clipped by shrapnel scars. Levi's gaze locked on it, then flicked up, raw hunger mingling with something softer. Fear? Hope? The steam thickened. Or maybe it was my vision blurring. "What the hell? Levi?" I hissed, but my voice cracked, betraying the lie. Because part of me, the starved part, leaned into the ghost of his touch. He didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned closer, breath warm against my ear. "I've watched you for months, fighting it. The way you move, the way you hide. I'm done hiding too. From you." His fingers trembled as they hovered, waiting for permission I wasn't sure I could give. The door creaked open then, a blast of cooler air shattering the moment. Some Wall Street bro in a monogrammed robe lumbered in, oblivious, muttering about closing deals. Levi and I sprang apart like guilty teens, towels clutched like shields. But the damage was done. That touch lingered, a brand on my skin, igniting a fire I'd long ago smothered. We didn't speak as the intruder settled below us, but Levi's foot nudged mine under the bench, a secret Morse code. "Stay. Talk. Try." I nodded, imperceptibly, heart pounding a war drum. When the bro left 10 minutes later, towel whipping the air like a matador, Levi turned to me, resolute. "Meet me after? My place in Williamsburg. No pressure. Just us." His voice was a plea wrapped in velvet. I swallowed, the eagle on my hip itching like a fresh wound. "Yeah," I said, surprising myself. "Yeah, okay." The sauna emptied, but the heat stayed, coiling in my gut. As I showered off later, scalding water doing nothing to rinse away the what-ifs, I caught my reflection. Haunted eyes, jaw set against the storm. Levi Ramirez had cracked my armor, and God help me, I wanted him to shatter it completely. That night, his apartment was a third-floor walk-up in a brownstone that smelled of fresh paint and takeout Thai. Levi buzzed me up, greeting me in faded jeans and a threadbare Mets tee, hair damp from a post-gym rinse. "Beer?" he offered, popping 2 IPAs from the fridge, the kitchen lit by a single Edison bulb swinging like a pendulum. We clinked bottles on his fire escape, the city sprawl below us a neon heartbeat. Brooklyn thrummed, honks from the BQE, laughter spilling from bars, the distant wail of an ambulance. "To bad decisions," I toasted. "Ironic." He smirked, but his eyes were serious. "Or good ones." We talked then, really talked. About his abuela in the Bronx, teaching him to box to fend off bullies who called him Princita for his sensitivity. About my deployments, the sand that still haunted my dreams, the discharge papers that read honorable but felt like surrender. Hours blurred, beers emptied, until the fire escape railing dug into my palms and Levi's knee pressed against mine. Deliberate now. I meant it in there, he said, voice husky from the chill air. About not pretending. I'm gay, Caleb. Out to my crew, my family, hell, even my exes know. But you've got walls up like Fort Knox. I stared at the skyline, Manhattan's glow a taunt. Walls keep things out. And in. The words tasted like ash. My dad found my browser history when I was 19. Kicked me out with a duffel and a "don't come back" faggot. Mom tried to bridge it, but then she was gone. Cancer doesn't negotiate. Levi's hand found mine, warm and steady. No steam this time, just raw connection. I'm sorry, but that's not your burden alone anymore. He squeezed, thumb tracing my knuckles. Let me in. The kiss happened slow, inevitable like the tide claiming the shore. His lips soft, tasting of hops and salt, parting mine with a gentleness that undid me. I melted into it, hands fisting his shirt, pulling him closer until the railing bit my back and the city spun. It was messy, desperate, tongues tangling with months of pent-up ache. When we broke, gasping, his forehead pressed to mine. Stay, he whispered. I did. The bed was a tangle of sheets and limbs, his body a revelation, taut muscle yielding under my touch, moans that vibrated through me like bass lines. We explored slow at first, reverent, fingers mapping scars, lips soothing old wounds. Then faster, hungrier, until dawn painted the room gold and we collapsed, slick and spent, his head on my chest. For the first time in years, sleep came easy, dreams free of sand and screams. Levi's heartbeat synced with mine, a lullaby. But as the sun climbed, so did the shadows, the ones whispering that nothing this good lasted in a city that chewed up hearts and spat out husks. Weeks blurred into a rhythm that felt dangerously like home. Levi's place became my unofficial second address. Stolen mornings with coffee brewed strong enough to wake the dead. Evenings tangled on his couch watching old Scorsese flicks. Taxi driver for the grit, Goodfellas for the laughs. He'd trace my tattoos with lazy fingers, asking about each one. The eagle for resilience, the compass on my forearm for the brother I lost to a roadside bomb. In return, he'd share stories of his queer found family, a drag brunch crew in the village, a poetry slam night where he'd once recited a piece about loving in the margins. You're my anchor, Cal, he'd say, nuzzling my neck during runs along the promenade, the harbor wind whipping our faces. Anchor. The word anchored me too, pulling me from the drift I'd called living. Work improved. That brewery gig? Landed it, with Levi's hype man energy pushing me through revisions. Even my sister, Elena, noticed on our weekly calls. You sound lighter. Who's the spark? I dodged, but inside, it bloomed. This was real. Levi Ramirez, with his infectious laugh and unshakable loyalty, was rewriting my script. We hit milestones small and seismic. First public handhold at a Bushwick flea market, dodging side eyes from hipster vendors. A weekend upstate, hiking Catskills trails where he'd propose vows under a waterfall. I promised to spot your bench presses and your breakdowns, but cracks spiderwebbed early, subtle as humidity before a storm. Levi's ex, Marcus, a silver-tongued photographer with cheekbones like switchblades, started orbiting again. Just for a collab, Levi swore when Marcus texted about a gallery show. I nodded, but jealousy gnawed, a familiar beast from my military days, when envy over who got the cushy stateside post could turn brothers bitter. Then came the betrayal's first whisper. It was a Friday, post-yoga glow still humming, when I swung by Levi's early. The door was ajar odd, since he was paranoid about break-ins, and inside, voices, low, intimate. Marcus's timbre, smooth as bourbon. Come on, Lev. One night. For old times. You know we were fire. I froze in the hallway, heart a jackhammer. Levi's laugh. My laugh. Filtered out. Light. Marcus. Stop. Caleb's the real deal. But then a pause. Heavy. Doesn't mean I don't miss the chaos sometimes. Miss the chaos. The words sliced deeper than shrapnel. I backed away, silent as a ghost, fleeing to the B train where I nursed a rage beer at a dive bar, replaying it. Was this the pattern? I'd seen it in the barracks. Guys chasing the thrill, discarding the steady. By midnight, Levi's texts piled up. Where are you? Miss you. I typed back out. Late meeting. Lie one. We patched it surface level the next day. Him chalking Marcus to artistic bullshit. Me swallowing doubt like bad meds. But the seed rooted. Then, the real fracture hit during Pride Month, when the city pulsed with rainbows and rebellion. Levi dragged me to the parade, my first since discharge, when I'd watched from a bar stool, too raw to march. This time, we wove through floats blasting Gaga, his arms slung over my shoulders, shouting cheers at drag queens lip-syncing Born This Way. It was magic, electric, until his phone buzzed mid-kiss on a side street. He glanced, face paling. Family emergency, he muttered, pulling away. Abuela's not great. Gotta bounce. I nodded, masking the sting. Go. I'll catch the after-party with the crew. But as he vanished into the throng, I tailed him, not stalking, just checking. Paranoia. Maybe. He didn't head home. Instead, cab to Chelsea, dumping him at a sleek loft building. Marcus's address, from a quick Google I'd done weeks back. Heart in my throat, I waited outside, shadows lengthening. An hour ticked by. Then Levi emerged, disheveled, jacket askew. He didn't see me, but I saw the guilt in his slumped shoulders as he lit a cigarette, habit he swore he'd quit for me. The cab ride home was silent torture, my mind scripting horrors, tangled sheets, Marcus's hands where mine should be. Confrontation came Sunday, over pancakes at his kitchen island. I set my fork down, deliberate. Saw you Friday. With Marcus, his fork clattered. Color drained from his face. Cal, don't. My voice was steel, honed in deserts. Just tell me. Was it chaos? He buried his head in hands, shoulders shaking. It was a mistake. He showed up, drunk, talking about Abuela's meds. Turns out he knew her nurse from some shoot. I let him in to talk, but things escalated. Kissing. That's it. I stopped. Swear on everything. Kissing. The word detonated. Escalated. I echoed, standing so fast the stool toppled. You missed the chaos. Levi, is that what I am now? The boring anchor holding you back from your fire? No! He lunged, grabbing my wrist. You're everything. Marcus is smoke. You're the goddamn hearth. Tears streaked his cheeks, mirroring mine. We argued then, raw and ragged, me hurling accusations of patterns unbroken, him pleading for grace, for time to prove. I love you, Caleb. Terrifyingly so. That's why it scares me shitless. Love. The word hung. A lifeline or noose. I wrenched free, storming out into the relentless summer sun. Brooklyn blurred, brownstones mocking my flight, the river a silver slash of indifference. I crashed at Elena's in Queens, her spare room a cocoon of sibling pity. He's human. Bro, she said over takeout lo mein. We all fuck up. But you've got a heart like Dad's old truck. Rusted but unbreakable. Unbreakable. Ah. That night, dreams twisted. Levi morphing into Marcus mid-embrace, my screams silent in the sand. Morning brought Levi's barrage voicemails cracking with sobs, texts poetic in pain. Without you, I'm adrift. Come back. Please. I didn't. Days stretched to a week. Gym avoidance turning into full ghosting. Work suffered. Clients blurred into faceless demands. Then, the climax crashed like a rogue wave. Elena called. Frantic. Caleb, it's Levi. Accident. Hit and run on the bridge. The ER at Bellevue was a fluorescent hell. Beeps and bleach. Families huddled like refugees. Levi lay pale in a curtained bay, leg in a cast, bruises blooming like ink on his jaw. Hit while crossing to Manhattan, fleeing a fight with Marcus who'd shown up again, uninvited. Punched him, Levi rasped when I burst in, Elena trailing. Told him to fuck off for good. Then, lights out. Guilt knifed me. If I'd answered his calls, been there. Idiot, I choked, collapsing into the chair, his hand finding mine. Weak, but warm. You could have died. Would have been fine, he lied, eyes glassy with pain meds. But losing you, that's the real wreck. We cried then, ugly and unfiltered, nurses averting eyes. Elena slipped out, giving us space. Forgive me, he whispered. I'll spend forever earning it. I nodded, throat tight. We both will. The kiss was chaste, hospital sharp, but it sealed us. Betrayal scar would linger, but love, it was the salve. Recovery was a grind, Levi hobbling on crutches, me playing nurse with a vengeance. We talked depths. His fear of settling, my terror of abandonment. Therapy sessions, joint, in a sunlit office overlooking Gramercy Park. Vulnerability isn't weakness, our counselor droned, but Levi's squeeze under the table said it all. Summer waned, leaves turning gold along the East River. One crisp October eve, we returned to the gym his first post-crash. The sauna waited, steam whispering welcomes. We stripped down, towels loose, but this time, no ghosts. His hand on my thigh was bold, claiming. Remember, he murmured. How could I forget? I pulled him close, lips meeting in the haze. It was deeper now. Forged in fire, slow grinds, gasps echoing off cedar walls. When we emerged, flushed and whole, the attendant smirked knowingly. Brooklyn welcomed us back, indifferent but kind. Yet shadows lingered. Marcus's shadow, specifically. A month later, an envelope arrived at my agency. Glossy prints from his collab shoot. Levi mid-pose, shirtless and smoldering. Inscription, for the muse who got away. Burn this. Jealousy flared anew, but I showed Levi, who laughed, dark, cathartic. Torch it. He's ash. We did, in a fire pit at Prospect Park. Flames devouring the past. As embers died, he pulled a small box from his pocket. Not a ring too soon, but a key, etched with an eagle. To the apartment. Official. You're home, Cal. Home. The word broke me open. We made love that night under a harvest moon, bodies sinking like tides, whispers of forever mingling with cries. It wasn't perfect. Love never is. But it was ours, humanistic in its flaws. Two men, scarred and striving, choosing each other in a city that never sleeps. Winter clamped down on New York like a vice, the kind that turns breaths to ghosts and sidewalks to ice rinks. Levi and I hunkered in, our rhythm evolving into something sacred. Mornings tangled under quilts, his abuela's tamales steaming on the stove, her recipe, pilfered during visits to her Bronx walk-up, evenings plotting escapes from the grind. I'd landed a promotion, creative director now, pitching campaigns that actually sparked joy, while Levi expanded his training gig into a queer wellness collective. Sweat and soul, hosting sessions for guys like us. Vets unpacking PTSD through yoga, twinks building confidence via circuits. Felt like we'd alchemized betrayal into gold. Therapy helped, weekly check-ins where we'd dissect triggers, like my flinch at unexpected touches or his guilt spirals over Marcus. Growth isn't linear, our counselor reminded, but damn if it didn't feel like scaling Everest some days. Still, the love deepened, roots burrowing past the scars. Levi's laugh became my favorite sound, his quiet "I got you" during nightmares my anchor. But America, land of the free, had other plans. The election cycle loomed, November's chill carrying whispers of division, headlines screaming about traditional values, candidates who eyed us like threats. Levi, ever the activist, dove in marching at rallies, screen printing tees with slogans like, "Love wins, bigots lose." I tagged along, reluctantly, my cynicism a holdover from deployments where ideals died in foxholes, but his fire reignited mine. We're not just surviving, Cal, he'd say, linking arms at a candlelit vigil for a trans kid lost to hate. We're thriving. Loudly, the conflict reignited subtly, a spark in dry tinder. It started with my family, or what was left. Elena, ever the bridge builder, invited us to Thanksgiving in Queens. Mom would have wanted this, she insisted, referencing our late mother's progressive streak, her secret stash of Stonewall books hidden in the attic. Levi was game, nerves masked by charm. "I'll bring the pie." Abuela's secret, flaky as hell. The dinner was a minefield wrapped in turkey. Uncle Ray, Dad's brother, dominated, a retired cop with a beer gut and a worldview stuck in Reagan's shadow. "Heard about the parades?" he grunted over mashed potatoes, eyes flicking to Levi and me, seated thigh to thigh. "Buncha nonsense. Marriage is between a man and a woman. End of story." The table froze. Elena shot me an apologetic glance. But Levi, he leaned forward, fork poised like a sword. "Actually, Uncle Ray loves love. And last I checked, the Constitution backs that." His tone was polite thunder, the room crackling. Ray barked a laugh, face reddening. "Smartest trainers think they know law now? Back in my day, we didn't flaunt it." The slur slipped out veiled, fruity business, but it landed like a gut punch. I tensed, old wounds reopening. Dad's echo in that word, the discharge whispers labeling me unfit. Levi's hand found mine under the table, steady. But I erupted. "Your day? It's 2025, right? My day was dodging bullets for this country, only to come home and fight for scraps of equality. So yeah, we flaunt it. Because hiding gets people killed." Silence, thick as gravy. Elena cleared her throat, steering to football scores, but the damage festered. Levi and I bailed early, cab ride home a pressure cooker. You okay? He asked, thumb stroking my palm. Fine, I lied, jaw clenched. Just family shit. But inside, betrayal brewed, not Levi's, but the systems, the generational poison that made love a battlefield. It escalated days later. Ray cornered Elena, ranting about protecting the boy, me from that lifestyle. She forwarded the voicemails, voice dripping venom. Tell Caleb to wise up before he ends up like those parade freaks. Alone and miserable. Elena added, he's spiraling since the divorce. Ignore him. But I couldn't. The words echoed Dad's final disownment, a loop of rejection. Levi found me on the fire escape at 2 a.m., whiskey bottle half empty, staring at the void. Talk to me, he urged, settling beside me, coat pulled tight against the sleet. It's poison, Lev. Runs in the blood. I spilled it all. The Marine buddy who OD'd after outing himself. The bar brawl in Kandahar where faggot nearly cost me an eye. Ray's just the face. But what if? What if it's in me too, pushing you away to protect us? He cupped my face. Fierce. Bullshit. You're the bravest man I know. And that poison, we burn it out together. His kiss was salt and storm, pulling me inside where we stripped layers, clothes, fears, until bodies spoke what words couldn't. That night, he held me through the shakes, whispering litanies of worth until dawn. Yet the external storm gathered. Levi's collective hit turbulence. A funder pulled support after a right-wing blog outed it as gay indoctrination. Clients dwindled. Whispers in the gym about agenda pushing. He shrugged it off publicly. Haters fuel us. But privately, doubt crept. Am I enough? He'd murmur post-rejection emails, my reassurances tasting hollow. Climax brewed in December, under twinkling lights and tinsel lies. We planned a quiet holiday, tree trimming with his abuela, her stories of migrating from Puerto Rico weaving warmth into our chill. But Ray struck again, this time direct, a letter to my agency, anonymous but unmistakable, labeling me unstable due to personal vices. HR called me in. Awkward. Just protocol. Caleb. But rumors. Betrayal's blade twisted. Not just family, but the American dream, work hard, love freely, get crucified. I confronted Ray via Elena. Voicemail venom. Stay the fuck out of my life. Or next time, it's lawyers. His reply, a curt family sticks together. Choose sides. Sides. As if love had borders. Levi sensed the fracture, pulling me to the sauna, our origin, our ritual. Steam enveloped us, memories thick. We're stronger than this, he vowed, hand on my heart. But as we emerged, phone buzzed. Abuela's hospital stroke, sudden. The ER redux, but crueler. Abuela lay frail, monitors beeping dirges. Levi crumbled, the unbreakable cracking. She raised me solo after Abuelo died. He sobbed in the hall, my arms his only brace. Told me to love fierce, no regrets. We sat vigil, hands clasped over her bed. Her eyes fluttered open once. Weak smile for Levi, then me, Mijo's lucky. Hold tight. She slipped 2 days later, Christmas Eve, leaving a void like winter's maw. Funeral was a blur, Bronx church packed with Levi's tribe, eulogies painting her as a queer ally saint. I stood stoic, but inside, grief warred with my own ghosts. That night, alone in the apartment scented with her tamales, Levi shattered. What if love's not enough? She fought everything, poverty, prejudice, and still, I pulled him close, our tears mingling. It is enough. Because we fight too. We mourned raw, bodies crashing like waves, seeking solace in skin. But dawn brought resolve. A pact, whispered over coffee. No more hiding. We build from ashes. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill. Levi's collective pivoted community grants, virtual sessions blooming anew. My agency, I documented Ray's harassment, HR siding with me, quiet win. Yet the humanistic core emerged in small graces. Elena's apology lunch, her coming out as bi, bridging our chasm. Family evolves, she said. Ray faded to irrelevance, his divorce swallowing his bile. One balmy April eve, we recaptured the promenade, hands laced, harbor breeze carrying salt and promise. Marry me? Levi asked, casual as sunset, but his eyes earnest fire. I laughed, tears pricking. Thought you'd never ask. No ring yet, practicality first, but vows? We etched them there, against the railing where it began. Love, dramatic in its trials, romantic in its returns, was our humanism, flawed men choosing grace. Summer returned, a phoenix of heat and hope, but with it, the inevitable tempests of growth. Our engagement wasn't fireworks, more a steady burn, announced over beers with Levi's crew at a rooftop in Bed-Stuy, cheers mingling with rainbow flags snapping in the breeze. Planning crept in, a small ceremony at City Hall, reception at Abuela's old community center, now a hub for his collective. Intimate, Levi insisted. Just us, the loves, and bad dancing. I dove in, surprising myself, mood boards for invites with eagle motifs, playlists blending Springsteen ballads and Bad Bunny anthems. Work hummed. My campaigns went viral, one for a LGBTQ plus youth hotline earning me a TEDx invite. Proud as hell, Levi texted from a client session, emoji heart exploding. But conflict, that old foe, slithered back via an unlikely Trojan, my past. A Marine reunion invite landed, annual bash in D.C. Brothers in arms. I skipped years, but Elena nudged. Closure, Kel. For mom, Levi backed it. Go. I'll hold the fort. Bring back stories, not ghosts. D.C. was a time warp, monuments looming like judgmental sentinels, the mall's green expanse mocking my inner churn. Buddies slapped backs, beers flowed, tales of glory days laced with loss. Then, Jake, my foxhole confidant, the one who'd patched my shrapnel wounds under fire, pulled me aside. Heard you're hitched. To a guy. His grin was easy, but eyes probed. After all that sand? Ballsy. We talked deep into night, Potomac glittering below a hotel bar. Jake confessed his own secrets by married to a woman, kids in tow, but what if's haunting. You look free, man. Envy that. Envy flipped to confession. He'd covered for me back then, deflecting Brass's suspicions about my moods. Owed you. Saved my ass in that ambush. Gratitude swelled, but so did doubt. Flying back, turbulence mirroring my gut. Was I free, or just fooling myself? Levi met me at JFK. Sign scrawled, "Welcome home, fiancé." His hug erased miles, but words tumbled, "Jake, He knew. About me. All along. Levi listened. No judgment. Over diner fries at 1 a.m. See? You're not alone. Never were. But the seed of self-sabotage sprouted. Days later, stress peaked. Wedding vendors flaking. A client crisis, and I snapped during a rehearsal dinner dry run. This is insane, I barked at Levi over seating charts. Parading our happy ending when the world's burning? Ray's probably praying for lightning. He recoiled, hurt flashing. It's not parade, Kel. This promise. But if you're bailing, the unspoken hung, like Dad, like the Marines. Betrayals echo my own this time. I stormed out, wandering Brooklyn's veins until dawn. Regret a cold companion. Voicemail from Elena. Don't fuck this up, idiot. Mom's watching. Levi's? Silence. Then, love you. Fix it. I did. At dawn on our fire escape. Coffee steaming between us. I'm scared, I admitted, voice raw. Of losing you to this mess I am. He pulled me in, foreheads touching. Messy is human. We're in it together. Resolution bloomed, but climax loomed larger. A storm named Marcus. He'd resurfaced, soberish, via a mutual art pal apology email to Levi, miss our spark. Coffee? No strings. Levi deleted it, told me clean. But I stewed, old jealousy a venom. Block him, I urged, sharper than intended. Already did, Levi sighed. But trust, Kel. That's the work. Trust fractured when Marcus crashed a collective event. Open mic night at the center. Spotlights on queer voices. He cornered Levi post-set. Camera slung like a weapon. Just shots for my portfolio. You're glowing. Man. I watched from shadows. Blood roaring. Levi's polite deflection. Marcus's hand on his arm too lingering. I intervened. Voice low thunder. Back off. Marcus smirked. All predator. Protective much? He was mine first. Levi shoved between us. Eyes blazing. Was? Ancient history. Leave. Outside. Alley cool against fevered skin. Levi whirled. You don't own me, Caleb. But damn it. Act like you trust me. Hurt-laced accusation, my doubt betraying us anew. We fought ugly. Me hurling chaos ghosts. Him firing back on my walls. I'm not your dad. Or Ray. He stormed off, leaving me in the stink of regret. Hours later, his text, Sauna. Now. Talk. The gym was a tomb at midnight, our keycard a secret. Steam welcomed, thick with memory. We stripped, sat opposite, towels barriers. I fucked up, I started. Fear talking. He nodded, eyes wet. Me too. Marcus is nothing, a reminder of who I was. You're who I am. Vulnerability cracked us open. Tears steamed away as we closed the gap. Hands tentative, then sure. Touches mapped apologies. Fingers on scars, lips sealing vows. In that haze, climax crested, not destruction, but rebirth. Bodies joined, slow and sacred, gasps prayers of forgiveness. Forever, he breathed against my neck, our release a shared salvation. Dawn found us renewed, the city stirring below. Marcus, a restraining order, swift. Our wedding pressed on, intimate as planned. 20 souls in City Hall's marble hush. Elena officiating with teary wit. Vows echoed my tattoo. Through storms and sands, I choose you. Rings simple, steel bands etched with compasses. Reception pulsed, tamales, toasts, Levi's abuela's spirit in every laugh. We danced barefoot, Bad Bunny blasting, his head on my shoulder. Best bad decision ever. But humanism whispered deeper. Post-honeymoon, a Catskills cabin, hikes and hearthside whispers. We mentored, Levi's collective expanding to vet support, my campaign's funding shelters. Ray reached out, halting a card. Proud of you, kid. Sorry. No olive branch taken, but released. 1 year in. Another sauna ritual. Steam our confessional. Changed everything, Levi murmured. Hand on thigh, echo of origins. I smiled, pulling him close. For the better, yet life layered complexities. Elena announced pregnancy, our niece/nephew a bridge to fractured roots. Levi's health scare, a benign tumor. Routine surgery tested us, my vigil echoing his. Through it, love's romance endured. Notes in lunch bags, surprise tickets to a Yankees game, where under stadium lights, he proposed a second vow. Kids? Someday? Someday? I echoed, heart full. Dramatic, our fights kept it spicy. Emotional, tears were currency. But romantic, humanistic, yes. In America's vast, flawed tapestry, two threads wove unbreakable. Caleb and Levi, Sauna Shadows to sunlit strides. Years folded like well-worn maps, tracing our path from Brooklyn's bustle to a quiet evolution. 5 years married. We traded the fire escape for a fixer-upper in Ditmas Park. Victorian charm with a backyard for the dog we'd adopted. A mutt named Scout who chased squirrels with Levi's boundless energy. My agency thrived. Remote now. Campaigns championing underdogs. Queer vets memoirs. Immigrant artist spotlights. Levi's Sweat and Soul franchised. Satellites in Philly. Chicago empowering bodies and spirits. Life wasn't linear bliss. Conflicts ebbed like tides. Elena's kid, Mia, our fierce goddaughter, adored Uncle Levi's stories. But family holidays still bristled with Ray's awkward silences, his Parkinson's softening edges but not erasing scars. We'd navigate with grace. Levi's hand in mine under the table, a silent "we got this." The deeper drama stirred in legacy's pull. 37. I eyed the mirror, crow's feet etching laugh lines, eagle tattoo faded but fierce. Deployment ghosts resurfaced in therapy flare-ups, nightmares of sand pulling me under. Levi anchored, but one night, post-panic attack, I confessed, want more. Kids. Our story, passed on, distilled, blue eyes stormy. Yeah. But how? Surrogacy? Adoption? The system's a gauntlet for guys like us. We dove in. Research marathons over wine. Foster to adopt stats grim for queer couples. Surrogacy costs eye-watering. Hope flickered at a conference, Levi keynoting on resilience. Me paneling on visibility. There, we met the Thompsons. Straight allies, infertile, open to co-parenting. Shared village, they pitched. Skepticism warred with longing. But coffee dates bloomed connection, barbecues, board games, Mia's playdates bridging. Betrayal specter loomed when the agency hit a snag. Background checks dredging my discharge rumors. Whispers of instability. A social worker, conservative leaning, probed any lifestyle concerns. Levi raged post-meeting. Discrimination dressed as diligence. But I tempered, fight smart. Humanize. Climax crested in court. Adoption hearing a theater of judgment. Ray showed, Uninvited. Elena's nudge, sitting stiff-backed. His presence a wild card. Testimonies poured. Elena on my devotion. Levi's crew on our stability. Then Ray, voice quavering. Caleb's my nephew. Fought for this country. Built a life despite everything, including me. He's steady. Good father material. Tears stung. Betrayal transmuted to redemption. The judge ruled affirmative. Twins, boys, 6 months old, foster siblings, finally home. Oliver and Theo arrived in a whirlwind of bottles and bleariness, our brownstone echoing with coups and chaos. Parenthood was raw drama. Sleepless nights tag-teaming feeds. Levi's lullabies in Spanglish soothing cries. Emotional minefield. My trigger at Theo's first fever. Flashbacks to field medics. Levi's breakdown when Oliver's first words skipped, dada, for ball. But romance persisted. Stolen kisses over crib rails. Date nights at the old diner. Whispering dreams amid diapers. Humanistic threads wove through. Community barbecues where our boys toddled among rainbow flags. My TED Talk evolving to fatherhood's fronts. Marcus, a footnote sober, distant, liking our Insta posts from afar. Elena and Ray, grandparents now. His stories to the boys laced with tough lessons learned. One humid eve, 8 years from that sauna spark, we escaped to the gym, babysitter on duty. Steam curled, familiar embrace. Levi's hand brushed my thigh, echo eternal. Changed everything, he murmured, pulling me close. Wouldn't trade a grain of sand, I replied, our kiss timeless. Bodies joined, slower now, appreciative of curves softened by time, scars deepened by life. Release was quiet thunder, affirmations unspoken. Outside, Brooklyn pulsed, our boy's future in its veins. America, flawed colossus, had tested us, betrayals familial and systemic, conflicts internal and epic. Yet here, in love's steady forge, we emerged, dramatic survivors, emotional alchemists, romantic realists, humanistic heroes. Caleb and Levi, shadows to light, proving one touch could indeed change everything, and sustain it through every storm. Epilogue whispered in Scout's contented sigh at home, twins slumbering, Levi's arm around me on the porch. To us, he toasted with lemonade, stars wheeling above. To forever, I echoed. And in that American dream, reimagined, we believed it.